Tonight, the Prime Minister and his wife reveal they're separating. Justin Trudeau and Sophie Grégoire Trudeau go public with a deeply private decision, how they broke the news after 18 years of marriage. Donald Trump is expected in court in just hours as Washington prepares for another unprecedented day.
Sadly, the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear.
And a champion of self-love now accused of harassment, while Lizzo's former dancers are suing.
This is The National with Anita Bath.
Adrian is away. We begin tonight with that announcement from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Sophie Grégoire Trudeau, both confirming they've decided to separate. Married for nearly 2 decades, the pair has 3 children, and after so many years together in the public eye, today they went public with news they are splitting up, asking for privacy. Marina von Stackelberg now with how they announced their decision and the next steps in their breakup.
Last seen publicly together on Canada Day, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife, Sophie Grégoire Trudeau, broke the news also together, with 2 matching statements on their Instagram accounts. After many meaningful and difficult conversations, we have made the decision to separate. As always, we remain a close family with deep love and respect for each other. News of their breakup spread quickly.
Plus, a surprising announcement from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau stunned his nation today.
He and his wife of 18 years, Sophie, will be separating.
The Prime Minister's office confirmed the pair have signed a legal separation agreement, adding both parents will be a constant presence in their children's lives, and Canadians can expect to often see the family together. The couple married in 2005 and have 3 kids, aged 15, 14, and 9.
Merci, Sophie, pour ta force.
Since her husband became Prime Minister in 2015, Grégoire Trudeau has been in the public eye. Sophie, 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 Sophie. Meeting dignitaries from around the world.
We never went into it thinking, oh, this is going to be an easy ride. No. We were very conscious of what we were getting into, and this is what we wanted.
She's been an advocate for gender equality and mental health.
By loving who you are, for who you are, you're making everything else possible. And let me tell you, beside me right now stands a man that I love deeply.
The two have shown affection.
Don't go yet, my love.
But were also candid about the challenges of marriage, saying their own wasn't perfect or easy. Trudeau, a child of divorce himself. His parents separated when he was a little boy. Pierre Trudeau, the only other Canadian Prime Minister to split with his wife while in office.
Sources say Sophie Grégoire Trudeau has moved into her own place in Ottawa. The Prime Minister and their kids will stay at Rideau Cottage, where she will also spend time. The family is asking for privacy, and next week will leave for a vacation together. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
While this is a personal matter, it does have implications for the Prime Minister's office. Host of CBC Radio's The House, Typhoon Khanun, joins me with a look at that. Catherine, what are you hearing?
Well, there are practical political implications in the sense that staff had to be briefed today on the news before it went public. Liberal caucus had a private virtual meeting led by Justin Trudeau's longtime friend, Cabinet Minister Dominic LeBlanc, who took questions. There's also Sophie Grégoire Trudeau's role as an at least occasional political spokesperson. In the past, she's given speeches at Liberal Convention. In the spring, she held an event here in Ottawa with U.S. First Lady Jill Biden. Now, we understand she will no longer be a spokesperson in that same way, so she will no longer have government staff dedicated to her personal appearances. And inevitably, there are security considerations as housing arrangements change.
And then there's the question of when Justin Trudeau addresses this publicly.
That's right. He's taking a vacation, as we heard, with the family next week. We expect that he will make a public appearance, some kind of public remarks before that. So it does become a communications issue to be managed. And as Marina mentioned, the international interest is significant. He has led this country for almost 8 years. He's known on the global stage, one of the longer serving leaders. So this change also makes international headlines. Now, the separation is not in any way a source of political debate. thus far. And given that it is ultimately still a sensitive personal matter that involves 3 children, it may stay that way.
Thanks, Catherine.
You're welcome.
Now to the historic developments in Washington around the indictment of a former president facing the most serious accusations yet. In just hours now, Donald Trump is expected to make a court appearance after being indicted for his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Preparations are already underway outside the courthouse in Washington. That's where Katie Simpson is tonight. Katie, what are you seeing?
There's already a lineup about half a block long, people waiting to get inside the courthouse. Security in the area has been ramped up, and the Secret Service did a walkthrough, all in anticipation of Donald Trump's next court appearance right here.
The U.S. Capitol building, a reminder of the violence in this historic case, looms large in full view from the federal courthouse steps. New satellite trucks have staked out their spots, and police are on alert ahead of Donald Trump's appearance on Thursday. The former president's legal team offering a preview of their defense.
Everything that President Trump did was with the advice of lawyers and counsel.
Trump is accused of conspiring to overturn the results of the 2020 election, an elaborate and complex scheme that allegedly involved knowingly and repeatedly spreading lies about voter fraud while pressuring leaders in key swing states to change the outcome in his favor, acting with several unnamed co-conspirators, one now identified as former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani.
The company counting our vote, with control over our vote, is owned by 2 Venezuelans who were allies of Chavez.
Giuliani was also allegedly involved in the Mike Pence pressure campaign, urging the vice president to use his ceremonial powers to try to stop vote certification.
Sadly, the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear.
Trump's legal team is now pushing to have this trial put off until after the 2024 election.
You know, a case of this magnitude, I don't see it possibly going to trial before the election.
A delay would be to Trump's advantage. If he's reelected, he could order this and any other case against him dropped. His team is also considering a change of venue, fearing he won't get an impartial jury in this Democratic stronghold. Even his challengers seem to agree.
A D.C. jury would indict a ham sandwich and convict a ham sandwich if it was a Republican ham sandwich.
And Katie, Trump appeared in court back in June on one of his 2 other indictments, but this time could be different.
It's not likely going to be a redo of what we saw in Miami when Donald Trump made his first court appearance in the classified documents case. There, thousands of people showed up to offer support. But remember, Florida's kind of like home field advantage for Donald Trump. He is not popular here in D.C. Many people in this neighborhood are still quite scarred by what happened on January 6th. Though Trump does draw a crowd, so I am certain whatever happens in the lead up to tomorrow, it's going to be interesting.
Katie Simpson in Washington tonight. A jury has recommended the death penalty for the man who killed 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018. The ruling was unanimous from all 12 jurors. 5 years ago, Robert Bowers stormed the Tree of Life synagogue and opened fire. He killed 11 worshipers and wounded 7 others, including 5 police officers. It was the worst anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. A judge is expected to deliver the official sentence tomorrow. And back in this country, Health Canada confirms it's now reviewing a popular diabetes drug that's also used for weight loss. And it's not the only health agency taking a closer look. Christine Birak explains why.
It's like legitimately horrific side effects.
I feel okay. And then there's bitching.
The stories are all over social media.
I was violently vomiting to the point where I was vomiting blood.
After taking a medication for type 2 diabetes that's also being used for weight loss, patients worldwide are reporting possibly alarming side effects from drugs like Ozempic. Health Canada says it's examining the risks of suicidal ideation, thoughts of self-harm, and suicide reported by patients taking these medications. The agency now says it's aware of 26 reports of suicidal thoughts, but adds they're not medically confirmed yet. The UK and European medicines agencies are doing similar investigations.
every medication that comes onto the market needs to be looked at for adverse side effects.
This obesity doctor says if the reports are confirmed, health agencies then need to figure out whether the medication is causing the condition.
Anyone who's seeking weight management actively is at a higher risk of suicidal ideation, and that's been documented in clinical trials. So the question is this just a correlation, or is it actually a causation?
The next step means that we need to start running the studies.
Based on reports, researchers are also studying whether the risk of thyroid cancer increases while taking the newer obesity drugs.
There was a study that was published a few months ago that found in Europe that there might be a potential association. And so what we're trying to do is replicate that same style of study to see is that actually happening or not.
Novo Nordisk, the company that makes Ozempic, says it's working with health authorities and researchers to make sure patient safety information, including side effects, is accurately listed on their products. Doctors insist before taking any drug, patients need to make sure the benefits outweigh the risks. Christine Burak, CBC News, Toronto.
A new report out tonight says Canada's healthcare system remains under enormous strain in the wake of the pandemic. One symptom is a backlog of surgeries. That's because more than 740,000 surgeries across the country were put on hold in the first 2.5 years of the pandemic, a drop of about 13% compared with 2019. That report also points to staff shortages and a lack of family doctors, all of it taking a big toll on our healthcare system. Lauren Pelly takes us through the findings.
Surgeries were put on hold across the country during the pandemic, creating a big backlog.
It takes a long time to catch up.
A new report shows the sharpest drops in procedures were in Manitoba and Newfoundland.
We're seeing different approaches being taken across the country.
This family physician says there was also a bigger impact on people living in lower income neighborhoods.
If you're from a low income working class community, you're even farther behind in terms of accessing surgery than other people in Canada. And unfortunately, this is not a new pattern.
Even though surgeries were put on hold, the Canadian Institute for Health Information says healthcare teams still worked 18 million hours of overtime between 2020 and 2021. Some workers quit their jobs, while others grappled with burnout, like Toronto trauma nurse Aram Jagala.
It felt like an ongoing marathon that just wouldn't finish.
The report also highlighted other pressing issues. Many Canadians struggle to access mental health services, while millions don't have access to any primary care provider. Noticeably absent was any data from Quebec.
We need better outcomes.
The report follows a deal between the federal government and the provinces to improve the collection and sharing of healthcare data. But Quebec hasn't signed on. The province with a population of more than 8 million told CBC News they've been reporting their own data publicly since 2022.
It's pretty astounding that it's 2023 and we're starting to actually try to compile all of this data.
This health policy expert says even with its gaps, the report is an important first step, but
if it doesn't come with the targeted investments, then all we're going to be doing is having a better sense of these divides.
In other words, the data won't help if governments don't find a fix. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
A raging wildfire in BC is triggering new urgent evacuations. 200 homes are now under an evacuation order. At least a dozen properties have been destroyed. Authorities say the fire was caused by lightning and is growing aggressively around the popular recreational area of Gun Lake. It's quadrupled in size since Monday. And police in Nova Scotia have recovered the body of the fourth and final missing person after last month's historic flood. The victim has been identified as Terry Lynn Keddy. The 14-year-old had been missing since July 22nd. Investigators say she was swept away while in a vehicle that was attempting to escape the rapidly rising water. The bodies of 3 other victims were recovered last week. They've been identified as 6-year-olds Natalie Harnish and Colton Cisco, as well as 52-year-old Nicholas Holland. Well, just days after a powerful storm brought devastating flooding to parts of China and the Philippines, another typhoon is being felt in southern Japan. As Sasha Petrusik shows us, hundreds of thousands in its path are being told to flee.
High winds and heavy rain lashed Japan's southern islands as another severe storm swept ashore, Typhoon Khanun. Powerful and slow-moving, barely 15 kilometers an hour, with winds up to 200, it's a brutal combination, battering communities over hours and days. About 200,000 households are without power, 750,000 people advised to evacuate. Khanun is the second typhoon to hit eastern Asia since the weekend, affecting a wide area. It's moving northwest from the Philippine Sea between Japan and Taiwan, hitting Shanghai. Another typhoon, Doksuri, moved over the Philippines and far into China. Weakening, but still leaving a dangerous trail of flooding. A park near Beijing underwater in this case. A sea of garbage is sweeping in. Many have been forced from their homes. In the Philippines, heavy rain has flooded fields and villages north of Manila, leaving what officials call a calamity with vast damage. It's never been like this before, says this village councillor. No one was expecting it. The hardship is real. Our house is flooded, says this resident. Our kids are with relatives and we haven't worked in days. It's so difficult. Experts say typhoon season is becoming longer, the storms more dangerous.
They start drawing in warm, wet air from along the sea surface, and then they can get larger and larger and larger, and they don't shut off at night. And, they're the energy output's equivalent of atomic bombs every few seconds.
Affecting hundreds of millions of people across East Asia. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Toronto.
The U.S. is ordering some of its embassy staff to leave Niger after regional military leaders called the coup a source of grave concern.
The task of restoring democratic governance in Niger is fraught with potential hurdles and complications.
Military intervention, they say, is a last resort, but they say they aim to restore stability in Niger, where major cities are facing rolling blackouts. Niger has accused Nigeria of cutting electricity supplies to the country. To a stunning tale of survival in the Atlantic Ocean now, involving 4 Nigerian men who made a dangerous journey. From a distance, it looks just like another cargo ship, but zoom in closer and everything changes.
Take some food, take some water, I will get the life vest now.
2 stowaways seated on the rudder of the massive ship, waves crashing below them. 2 more men were on the inside. They say their journey lasted 14 days, 4 without food or clean water.
So they came and they asked, do you know where you are? I said, no. And they said, this is Brazil.
A shocking realization. They thought they were headed to Europe. 2 decided to go back home. The others hoped to stay.
It's not easy, seeing the ship, shaking, I was so scared.
Now it's left to the government to decide if they can. Ukraine's president is accusing Vladimir Putin of trying to trigger a global catastrophe after the latest Russian attack at a Ukrainian port, halting ships from loading Ukrainian grain. Abby Kuatasan now with the concerns for global food security.
Ukrainian crews battled the blaze at this port facility in Odessa. Kyiv says Russian drones damaged a grain warehouse on Tuesday night, lamenting the loss of 40,000 tons of food. This facility on the river Danube is just a short distance from Romania, a NATO member, and this attack came hours after several foreign ships made their way to that port for the first time since mid-July. That's when Russia pulled out of a UN-brokered agreement that allowed for the safe passage of Ukrainian grain out of the Black Sea, raising concerns about the supply of grain that several African countries rely on. Since it left the deal, Moscow has ramped up attacks on Ukraine's ports.
Loading facilities on the Danube in southern Ukraine
that had emerged over the last few months as another potential way to get grain to the rest of the world. And
Mr. Glauber says there is enough grain on the world market right now to prevent major spikes in prices, but that may not last without Ukraine, often called the world's breadbasket.
The world has to make that up. And so it should be a concern for not just Africa, but everywhere in the world, that having a major grain producer, operating at 2/3 of its ability.
The UN, along with leaders of several nations, have called on the Kremlin to return to the agreement to prevent food shortages that would exacerbate world hunger. But at a summit in recent days, the Russian president reiterated a message to some African leaders.
Putin is saying, look, this is colonialism all over again. They are trying to victimize you, and they're making profits by selling you that expensive grain.
He boasted of a record Russian harvest this year and pledged to supply some grain to them for free. Abby Cuevas, CBC News, London.
Pop star Lizzo is facing accusations of harassment and creating a hostile work environment. The dancers behind a shocking lawsuit speak out.
This was a corporate office. That would be so many HR violations.
Toronto opens parks to drinking, but not everyone's on board.
If it happens and it's not safe, then we'll just have to leave.
And a golfer takes on a furry thief.
A lot of people said I was crazy for going after him.
We're back in 2.
It's too late. Get off the boat.
Get off the boat.
A terrifying scene in Michigan. 2 people were trying to put out a fire on a burning boat. You can hear a couple sailing nearby urging them to jump into the water. They finally jumped. Seconds later, the boat exploded. The couple managed to pull the boaters to safety. Lizzo is being sued by 3 of her former dancers tonight. They filed a lawsuit accusing the Grammy winner of sexual harassment and a toxic work environment. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson takes us through the allegations.
In her music, Lizzo spreads the message of self-love and body positivity. But 3 of her former dancers say working for Lizzo was far from a positive experience. In a lawsuit, Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis, and Noel Rodriguez allege they experienced a hostile work environment and sexual harassment, among other humiliations, while touring with a pop star.
Girls that look like me don't get representation.
Davis and Williams were hired as backup dancers after competing on Lizzo's reality show, Watch Out for the Big Girls.
This was a corporate office, and she was doing exactly the same thing that she was doing on tour. Immediately, that would be so many HR violations.
The dancers allege they were pressured to attend a sex club in Amsterdam where Lizzo allegedly began pressuring Ms. Davis to touch the breasts of one of the nude women performing at the club. The women also say they were made to rehearse for 12 hours without a bathroom break, causing one to soil herself.
Some of those allegations will be really difficult to prove, particularly those that don't have witnesses to them. And some of the allegations may be a little bit easier to prove if they do, if the dancers are able to call upon witnesses.
For now, Lizzo's public image as a queen of body positivity and inclusiveness has been rattled.
The things this woman is being sued for directly violates everything she presented to us.
Lizzo's dance captain, Charlene Quigley, and her touring company are also named as defendants in the lawsuit. Other allegations include racial harassment, disability discrimination, even discrimination based on weight. None of the accusations have been proven in court. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now to an update on a story we brought you last month about a retail worker in Toronto who found a very rare and very valuable game card. Well, today he confirmed he sold it to Post Malone. He says the rapper bought it for $2.64 million. The so-called One Ring card was created for the fantasy game Magic the Gathering, a nod to the Lord of the Ring. Malone is known to be a fan of the game. Well, Facebook and Instagram have started blocking news from their sites, but what does it mean for Canadians?
If there's no prompt on social media, I think I would less likely to go on the website.
The standoff between the government and big tech.
They're terrified that this is going to spread.
But first, the Russians taking a big risk to help Ukrainians.
Few of them may sign a trade, but I don't care.
What compelled them to act? The National takes you deeper into the stories shaping our world. Next. There are many Russian people giving direct aid to Ukrainians fleeing the war, but they're not doing it from inside Russia. Tonight, Terrence McKenna shows us the exiles and immigrants who feel compelled to stand up for the victims of an invasion.
When Russia attacked Ukraine in February 2022, a group of Russians who are against the war banded together to help Ukrainian refugees fleeing the war zone.
Who else but Russians? Who else but Russians who feel the same horror inside?
They also gathered food supplies from all over Europe to ship into Ukraine.
Well, we can't stop the war, but we can help you.
They realized that many Russians would consider them traitors.
Few of them may sign a trade, but I don't care.
The story of Russians for Ukraine. Every day in Przemysl, a small city on the Polish border with Ukraine, trains pull into the station and fill up with Ukrainian war refugees who are on a journey from their destroyed homes to safety somewhere in Europe. Refugees might be surprised to be greeted by a volunteer organization called Russians for Ukraine, staffed by opponents of the Putin regime. The group is led today by Russian-Canadian Tatyana Rogova from Toronto. Rogova is a whirlwind. She is keeping track of which refugee family goes on which rail car and advises them where to change trains at the next stop. Among the refugees today is the Shevchuk family from a recently liberated town in the Donetsk region. Grandson Oleksiy is accompanying his grandfather, Pyotr, 86, who is confined to a wheelchair. Rogova makes sure there is medication provided to those who are ill, and that there are enough helpers to get the infirm onto the train and get them settled in. She has been doing this volunteer work since the early months of the war. Today there is only one wheelchair. Sometimes there have been 3 or 4 at a time.
To load 4 wheelchair people in a train, that was tough. Now I can handle. I have the experience. But at the beginning, it was so tough. Like I had no idea how to deal, because they are very fragile, frail, old.
So there was up to 10 tents. The big one, the small ones, people were sleeping on the outside all summer.
Russians for Ukraine maintains this modest Polish headquarters building just 1 kilometer from the border. There are rooms for the dozens of volunteers to take turns sleeping. Here they collect food and supplies from all over Europe to be shipped into Ukraine.
3 huge trucks came from Belgium, and they brought food, they brought clothes, they brought lots of stuff.
Tatyana Rogova had been in Canada for 15 years, and for a while was running her own restaurant in Toronto. When Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, because of her Russian heritage, she felt that her world was being ripped apart. She was filled with a sense of guilt and shame.
And all my friends, all my family, we were all terrorized. It's such a strong pain, tearing pain. You simply feel that you're part of that. Imagine your father is Chikatilo. Chikatilo is a very famous guy who killed up to 60 people. I may be mistaken.
He was a Russian mass murderer.
Yeah, mass murderer, maniac. So that feeling, your father is that guy, and it's shocking. But I felt I need someone who can understand me? So who else but Russians? Who else but Russians who feel the same horror inside?
Russians for Ukraine was founded by George Nurmanov from Omsk, whose family left Russia for Holland 12 years ago because they couldn't stand Vladimir Putin.
I don't like that my motherland is doing on behalf of me. I'm trying to struggle with it and trying to help those who suffered from the actions from this war started by Putin, started by contemporary Russia.
If a lot of Russians would see this on television, would they consider you a traitor?
Few of them may find me a traitor, but I don't care.
The house has a garage that is filled with boxes of clothing and blankets and old suitcases.
On the train station, there are people whose case suddenly break. Like the suitcases is very valuable currency at the train station in Przemyśl because many of them at the beginning of the war, they were carrying plastic bags.
I see wheelchairs?
Yeah, wheelchairs, the automatic one, and like lots of wheelchairs went through that garage because we have shelter where lots of people with disabilities, and we just give them. And they don't expect it. Like, can I take it? Yes, you can take it. And one woman recently, she was crying. She was on the train station, she was crying when she realized that it's hers.
Among the Russian volunteers here is Nikolai Kuznetsov from Central Russia.
Why are you doing this? We gotta do something. Well, we can't stop the war, but we can help people. That's why we do this.
Do you have family members in Russia who disagree with you?
Oh, actually, yeah. There are some. My cousins, aunts, uncles. Well, I'm happy with my parents, my brothers, they support me. So, I'm happy, but you know, a lot of families in Russia, this war like divides them. It's like a crack inside the families, you know. It's very bad.
Rogova helps some refugees who are just getting a break before returning home to Ukraine.
I remember there was one very old woman. She came, and the reason she came, she said, I want to sleep. I haven't slept for 4 months. I just want to sleep because of the bomb and sirens. We just find her the nearest shelter, and I just sent her to sleep. And she was going to go back.
One of the workers at the Russians for Ukraine house is professional musician Anton Strashnov-Pirsky. He fills the air with somber music, matching the mood of Russian volunteers here. They are not optimistic that this war can end anytime soon.
Now we'll different scenarios of the regime in Russia. It can go, we ran out of optimistic scenarios. So now is very gloomy ones. And so maybe when it's so dark, maybe you say, you know, they say it's very dark.
Before the dawn.
Before the dawn.
Tatiana says that when dark thoughts overcome her, she tries to focus on the little she can do to make things better for refugees.
Yes, that's the most rewarding work I ever had. It's difficult. It's very difficult to explain why it's so much better than money. It's just, you know, human, like Koля said once, it's human to human. Like it's such a sincere interaction. When they say you, дякую, дякую is thank you in Ukrainian. And I learned how to say будь ласка. Будь ласка is you're welcome in Ukrainian. And sometimes you hug, and it's good. It feels so good. And when you go back home and you're going to bed, and I just remember all the smiles, I remember these words, I remember this warmness, and I said, okay, it's okay. I lived this one day, it was not a waste.
Yeah, that's reward.
The street musician at the Polish rail station plays a famous Russian waltz. Tatiana Rogova and the Russian volunteers who work here every day say they are doing it to preserve their own sanity and to send a message to Vladimir Putin and to the world that there are plenty of Russians who oppose this war.
Ukrainian refugees like the ones being helped by Russians in Terence's story continue to cross the border into Poland in large numbers. According to the UN, more than 6 million have left Ukraine since Russia's invasion 17 months ago. All right, coming up, Toronto picnics could now include booze.
Well, I'm not overly happy about it.
Why some are not so keen to drink in a park. Meta's move to block news on its Canadian platforms is stirring up a lot of reaction and blame. The social media company says the government is responsible for this development. The feds are calling Meta's actions irresponsible, and while users are caught in the middle.
That's where I get most of the news source, and a lot of young people get it from there, and I think that's definitely going to affect a lot of our opinions. If there's no prompt on social media for me to do that, I think I would less likely to go on the website.
What the government is saying is that Facebook linking to things is something that's bad. Okay, well then Facebook stopped that.
So I think in the long run, Facebook will be the loser.
Obviously, a lot of different perspectives, but let's dive deeper into where we're at and why. Joining us to break that down, we have Khalid Iwamura, the founder of Insaga, a local digital news outlet in Ontario, and Anya Schifrin. She's the Director of Technology, Media and Communications of Columbia University. Anya, let's start with you. Meta says Canadian news content will be removed within weeks. How will that lack of access make the consumer, all of us, more vulnerable?
I'm not sure that I would look at it that way. I think that the problem is that Google and Meta are so powerful and they have responsibility to carry quality information and journalism, and they should do it. So I think that their decision to drop Canadian news is highly irresponsible. And I think it will hurt audiences that rely on that information. So I don't think they should be doing what they're doing. And when you ask why, it's because they don't want to pay for it. And I think that's not a good position, because I think that we know quality information is valuable. Meta is making money off it, and they should be sharing some of that revenue with news publishers and news outlets.
Khalid, we're hearing this situation be referred to as a game of chicken with the federal government and Meta. So what happens next year? What can we expect of these negotiations in Canada?
Well, I hope they are talking, because at the end of the day, it's like they're not being transparent in regards to what's going on. You know, I know from, I talked to all the digital players, you know, within, you know, the industry in Southern Ontario and in Canada. And we're left out in the dark. We have no idea what's going on. So at the end of the day, I hope they are talking.
Let's talk a little bit more, Khalid, about those smaller outlets, because this isn't just about CBC and other large news organizations. What happens to local, smaller publications like yours the longer this goes on?
Well, it's one of those things that, you know, Insaga has, you know, we're in 18 cities, we're in small cities, we're in smaller towns and cities. And realistically, there's only maybe 1 or 2 news outlets in that entire, you know, town. So if you take us away and them away, they have absolutely no access to news. Some of these bigger markets, you know, like Toronto and Montreal and such, they have dozens and dozens of access points to news. Where these smaller cities like, you know, Milton, Burlington, you know, don't have that. So, I mean, they'll be completely left in the dark.
And how much are you relying on advertising? How does that work? And how does this affect the money that comes in?
It will affect it. I mean, glad to say that, you know, 60% of our traffic to Insaga is direct, which, you know, smaller cities have a loyal fan base type thing. But you know, we do advertising on Instagram, we do advertising on Facebook, and it will affect it. And the other thing is too, it's like with Facebook and Instagram, we're kind of lost too of what they're doing next. You know, could we still advertise? You know, I'm sure Facebook and you know, and Meta will still take our money, but we just don't know how it's going to work.
Anya, we know that Canada is just another player in this game, essentially. So now that Canada is involved, what comes next on the global level?
Sure, and I think there's a few points I want to make. One is a group of us got together in South Africa in mid-July because the codes are spreading around the world, and we want to make sure that each country improves on the previous experiences and what Australia did. And so Canada's already taken a step forward because they have provisions that the money that Google and Meta pay are used towards supporting news, and the amounts need to be reported to the regulator. So that's already a step forward. Globally, there is momentum for these codes, and that's why Meta is acting so strongly in Canada. They're terrified that this is going to spread. But it will spread because publishers around the world know that their news is creating value for Google and Meta, and they should be compensated for it. I think that eventually they will have to back down because they do make money from news. And we're seeing more and more studies of that. There was a Swiss study recently that found that Google without news really wasn't very good, and users stopped using it as much.
Anya and Khalid, thank you so much for your time. Next, the unusual obstacle on a BC golf course.
The funny thing was I was having a really good round up until that point.
The bandit bear with expensive taste in our moment. It's now perfectly legal to drink alcohol at dozens of public parks in Toronto with a new pilot project. It follows several other big Canadian cities where the rules have already been relaxed. Katie Nicholson looks at how the changes are going down.
Smile, Kai.
Catherine Lofsky loves to take her grandson to the park, but today she's a little apprehensive.
Well, I'm not overly happy about it.
This is one of 27 parks where a pilot project will allow Torontonians to legally crack open a cold one over the next few months. Something they've been doing on the sly for years. But there's concerns some may take it too far.
If it happens and it's not safe, then we'll just have to leave, you know, which isn't good.
Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, and Montreal have all relaxed rules around drinking alcohol in parks. The response has been positive. Even as some warn it comes with an elevated risk of violence or vandalism, and is in stark contrast to recent public health messaging urging Canadians to drink less.
It's really a matter of what do we want our messages to be, both in terms of, well, people in recovery, maybe elderly people, certainly youth. Like, is this the idea that we can't, you know, enjoy ourselves without alcohol?
Others think the rule change brings some benefits, especially in a city like Toronto, where so many don't have access to green spaces to share a drink with friends.
Definitely is an equity issue, and people who think that, well, you know, you can drink at home, forget that some people don't have homes or don't have homes where that's conducive.
Not far from the newly installed clusters of recycling bins eager to catch empties, some parents are unbothered by the shift.
All over the world, people do it, and it doesn't seem to be an issue, so I don't think it's a bad thing.
In fact, he says, some of the parents who come here sneak a little something stronger into their coffee cups, but not his family.
That's another way people do it, but no, today, no, it's too early. Coffee. But now that I know that I'm actually allowed to drink, maybe then we'll definitely do some picnics with something nicer.
And when they do, no one will have to hide that something nicer in a coffee cup. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Get going. Stay away from my beer.
Well, there's something you don't see on the golf course every day. A curious bear rummaging through bags, hoping to get in on the action. But the bear couldn't play a round of golf without some clubs, so it attempted to steal them. And tonight, the golf course bandit is our moment.
We all went up to the tee box to hit our shots, and when we walked away from our carts, that's when the bear started sniffing around our bags. The video shows the bear ripping open the first bag, and then went around to our cart and took a liking to my bag for some reason. Luckily, all the clubs dumped out as it was dragged down the ravine. A lot of people said I was crazy for going after it, but I had just bought that bag just at the beginning of the season, so it was a pretty new bag, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with all my clubs now?
Oh my God!
Most people find it hilarious.
No!
It suggests I do up a sequel to a cocaine bear, called a Coquitlam bear or something. You know, it might be a good sequel.
I can't believe that.
But yeah, we just put my clubs, strapped them into the back of the cart, and played the rest of the round. When it happened, I was pretty upset, but today I'm laughing about it.
Yeah, the bears do seem a little hungrier this year here in BC, but this man says that he only had beer inside the bag, so perhaps he was just looking to pop a cold one. That is the National for August 2nd. Hope you have a good night.